Efendim hepinize merhabalar. Artech'in oyunlarına Artech TV'ye hoş geldiniz. Stanley Parable'a kaldığımız yerden devam ediyoruz. Geçen bölüm sol kapının basiretlerini dinledik. Şimdi sağ kapının muhabbetlerini göreceğiz.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bu yollar böyle değildi lan. Böyle miydi? Bir dakika, böyle değildi bu yollar ya. Şeyler değişmiş mi?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Şimdi sağ tarafta incelemediğimiz her şeyi inceleyelim. Buraya daha önce hiç gelmedik.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Sus lan. Bir kart gerekiyor. Bu ne abi? Hoca bir nakliye bölüme.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leaped from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Teşekkür ederim. Teşekkür ederim. Teşekkür
All of
ederim.
his co-workers were gone.
Sadece ölüp
What could it
ölmeyeceğimi
mean?
kontrol etmek istedim.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Sağdan devam.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Buraya atlayabilirdim bu arada. Ha.
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Kim beni bekliyor?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do.
Hello?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha.
Kandırdım lan.
Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Sana da günaydın 427.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
Baya fantastik şu an, aynen.
And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Öpücük.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Kendi ofisime dönüşecek burası.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Evet.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and and down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby, and he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it.
Kaldıramadım, yeter. Yeter, kaldıramadım.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Sonra aşağı atlayacağım. Oraya çıkmayacağım, aşağı atlayacağım.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to
Ve
you?
tabii ki de öyle istiyorsun ha, şerefsiz. Ya bırak bu şeyi. Bırak lan. Hadi. Hadi kanıtla. Tamam, kanıtla. Hadi kanıtla. Kanıtlasan oğlum. Nereye kayboldun?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Hadi, tamam. Geçtim.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me.
Hadi.
You see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Göster. İnandım sana. Anlatıcı.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Hmm. Ne burası?
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Hayır,
If we
ne
just
bu?
stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Ben hissetmiyorum ama. Bana ne senin ne hissettiğin oğlum? Aa, bu ne? Renk cümbüşü. Gir git ya.
No, wait. Where are you going?
Geri mi döneyim?
Right. Where were we?
Kardeşim bana görsel şölen sunma. Ben çıkmak istiyorum buradan.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Ne kaybedeceksin? Tekrar geliyoruz zaten buraya. Lanet olsun, çeneni kapa.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Lan sal aşağı artık be. Hiç bok olmuyor. Aa, öyle.
Oh, thank God. No. No, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Çünkü senden kurtulmak istiyorum.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you? Yeah, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
Bu ne ya? Abi çok kötü bu ya. Hayır ya. Senin gibi bir deliyle burada tıkılmak istemiyorum.
My God, is this really how much you dislike
Evet.
the game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
Evet.
You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading
Evet.
the situation correctly?
Evet.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get
Ben
along.
boş yapmadan.
But I guess
Gerçek
that was
yüzünü
too
gördüm
much to
oğlum ben
ask.
senin diğer sonlarda.
It looks like you wanted to
Sana
make a
güven yok.
choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it?
Aynen
I'm
öyle.
going back.
Bye bye. Şerefsize bak ya.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
O hem bu tarafa hem o tarafa açılıyor kapı. Şimdi adama uyup soldaki kapıdan gidecek.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Belki.
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first but eager to get
Allah
back to
Allah.
business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Hadi dönüyoruz.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Hayır. Haha. Asansör. Seni dinlemeyeceğim lan. Şerefsiz.
But
Bu
Stanley
hikayenin
didn't want
hakimi
to
benim.
go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Ağzına sıçarım senin ha.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Hadi bakalım. Lan yine geldik mind kontrole.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from the top.
Aha. Her şey anlatıcılık kontrolü.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Dünya bir yalan, adam ne derse oluyor.
When Stanley... Wait.
What?
No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Or did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Bu iki kapı aynı yere çıkıyor. İlginç.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
Ne
Well, I
bileyim
find it
oğlum.
unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Hı? Haberi reset atacak oyuna. Allah'ın delisi.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Adamı bozduk en sonunda. Al işte.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Gözden kaçırdığımız bir şey yok ki kardeşim. Ben buraların hepsine baktım. Yani bir şeyler değişmediyse buralardan geçiş yok.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No,
Ne oldu
wait,
lan?
never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Dalga mı geçiyorsun benimle? Hikayeyi mi kaybettin gerizekalı?
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so
Teşekkür ederim.
good job. Oh no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know.
Ne? Oha yüzlerce ton denedim lan, niye mi?
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Onlarca farklı sonu yaşadım lan, nasıl hak etmedim?
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Buralar kapalıydı. Buralara giremiyorduk normalde.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that.
Bilmiyorum.
You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Ya. Kapat şunu. Allah'ın delisi. Deli. Anlatıcı da delirdi. Ne aşk merdiveni be, ne diyorsun ya?
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Aynı yere geldik.
No, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Allah'ım yine hat çizmiş ya. Sen deli misin oğlum?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Olur, hadi gel. Dolaşalım.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Böyle dönecek miyiz? Anlatıcı. Şükür.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander
Bana
the
bırakacaksın, sen mi
opportunity.
söyleyeceksin?
In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Bu nasıl bir mantık lan? Confusion ending.
Hold up, what's this?
16 dakikadır bu kafa karışıklığı sonunu
You're
oynuyormuşuz.
telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined?
Ne?
So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't.
Anlatıcı da hikayeyi kontrol etmiyor, onu da kontrol ediyorlar.
And the timer stopped. Does that mean did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Bilmem.
So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we?
Yani.
Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do happen to have a...
Ne oldu lan? Yine resetlediler hikayeyi. Anlatıcının aksine.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Uh-oh.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ah, aynı yere geri döndüm lan. Harbiden dediği gibi. Harbiden geri döndürdü beni.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Başa döndü.
Here's the door, just go.
Ana. Aynı kola geri döndük. Başka son kalmadı mı?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Bu sefer oyunu
Although
restartlamadan
this
öldürteceğim
passageway had
kendimi.
the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Bu sefer restartlamayacağım, öldürteceğim Stanley'i. Nasıl da videoyu bitiririm zaten.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Evet. Cüp.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and
Bye-bye.
shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Biliyorum. Ölüm tek gerçekmiş, anladık. Çıkış nerede? Çıkacağım ve restart atmayacağım bu sefer. Yani öldüreceğiz.
Oh, look at these two.
Oh,
How
look at
they
these
wish to
two.
destroy one
Ah, look
another.
at these
How
two.
they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Hayır, yok.
No, perhaps not.
Değil, hayır.
Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
İhtiyacımız yok birbirimize.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can
Hadi
stop
lan.
the program before they both fail.
Hayır.
Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now. It'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
Oh! Tost olduk. Daha fazla bir son görmek istemiyorum. Sıkıldım zaten. Uykumu getirdi. Oyun. Oyun. Öldük yani. Öldü. baştan başladı. Efendim sevgili YouTube, işte böyle bir maceraydı. Deneyimleyebildiğimiz kadar keyif aldığımız yerleri deneyimledik. 2 bölümlük kısacık bir seri oldu efendim. Videoyu beğenmeyi, görüş önerinizi yorum kısmında belirtmeyi ve daha fazla insana ulaşmamız için de videoyu paylaşmayı unutmayın. Onun haricinde bildiğiniz üzere twitch.tv/artech4 adresinde canlı yayınlardayız. Hepinizi canlı yayınlara bekliyorum. Linkler açıklama kısmında var. Canlı yayınlara gelip bana buradan izleyerek de destek olabilirsiniz efendim. Şimdilik benden bu kadar. Kendinize iyi bakın. Hoşçakalın ve iyi oyunlar.